Hello? How are you doing? Can you feel the love tonight? I was sitting here trying to remember that song. Is it like a Disney song, that Can You Feel the Love Tonight? I can't remember how it goes. I swear I'm like taking that ginkgo biloba stuff because it's supposed to help your memory, and I think it's making my memory worse. All my life, everything that I've taken that's supposed to do something for me does the opposite. It's the truth. Back in the day when I smoked weed, it made me speedy. Although marijuana does classify as a stimulant too. Not a lot of people know that. And cocaine slowed me down, but I think that's because of ADHD. Made me focused, in control. Coffee does the same thing to me. And ginkgo biloba makes me lose my memory. Oh, I'm a mess. Anyway. It's been a very productive day today. I don't know, I would say it's been a good day. It's been a long day. And I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I tossed and turned and I couldn't fall asleep. And I got up. I had to be in my office because I had to have this very long, extensive meeting to put together this project. And I got it all done, thank God. And that went well, and then I left and went right home to start filming videos because I was really in the mood to film videos that minute, and I wanted to get home and film them right that minute. And I had wanted to take a shower and do my hair and all this kind of stuff, because this morning when I left, I was running so late between getting PP his medicine and all this kind of stuff, and finishing my vlog, getting it uploaded, and then I didn't take a shower. I threw on a hat and I walked out the door, and I actually did have time to go get coffee though this morning, and I was on time. So anyway, but the parking where my office is was horrific, and I think it's because it was the day before St. Patrick's Day, which is crazy. So where my office is, there's a ton of bars, and it's always really, really crazy for St. Patrick's Day, which I have to go into my office for an hour tomorrow, and I didn't even think about this. We went out to dinner with Melissa and Jason tonight, and they all of a sudden were like, oh, well, what are you guys doing for St. Patrick's Day? Well, I never do anything because I think it's a drinking holiday, and so it's kind of amateur night for me. Plus, I don't unless it's New Year's, which is something it's a big holiday for me to go out with my husband. I kind of try to stay off the roads, unless I have to, which I'm going to the airport later to pick up Tanya tomorrow night, but I just don't I just don't like it. It's dangerous. There's a lot of people out drinking and driving and stuff. So anyway, I came right home and I started making videos, and I didn't get home until 5:30. So I started making videos, and I made my 3 videos for today on my main channel, my Peter Likes Books channel, and my Peterisms channel. But it was taking me so long to render the movies that I'm actually not going to publish my booktube video until tomorrow, which is fine because it's one less video that I have to make tomorrow. But I just like making videos every day on all my channels. I like to have, fresh material on my channels every day. And every time that I think, oh, people don't care or whatever, I always get a tweet or something, and people are like, where's your newest video? And I'm like, I love that. I love that, anybody out there cares that I am uploading new material, I don't know, it's just the coolest thing in the whole world to me. I love all of this. So, I like to upload content daily, and it forces me to be creative. It forces me to come up with new ideas. And I'm gonna post 2 drama videos tomorrow. I already have both of the ideas. I was outlining one of them in my phone earlier, and but then I made 3. No, I made 2 more pre-filmed Peterisms videos, so I have 4 total, and I have 4 total booktube videos pre-filmed. They're actually rendering right now, and So I have 6 more to make for each channel, because I want to have them just ready to upload while I'm on vacation. And I got really excited tonight. This is so corny. I was like, because I have all these ideas for videos, and I was like, well, I'll just some days upload 2 videos on those channels. It's so funny. Back in the day, like, when I started BookTube, if you have been around from the very beginning, you'll know that, I mean, there were days when I would upload like 2 videos a day on my BookTube channel. And when I started my drama channel, some days I would upload 2 and 3 videos a day on there. And I remember talking to Trisha Paytas about it, and she was like, you're uploading like 3 videos a day on your YouTube channel. And she's like, I kind of like it. Like, people seem to be interested in it. And I was like, well, I don't, you know, like, I don't really care if it affects the algorithm, or, you know, I don't care about all that kind of stuff. I just enjoy making videos. And she's like, I love that you're so passionate about it. And I was like, yeah, I just love it, you know? And then I remember around like a year ago, Christmas, she started posting like 2 and 3 videos a day. And I thought that was funny. I thought it was cute. So we'll see. Some days, you guys, while I'm gone, I might have 2 Peterisms videos change. You know, and if I'm down there and I feel really moved to make a video, I'm going to make the video that day and post it. None of my drama videos and my vlog, none of those will be pre-filmed. So my vlog will be while we're there. I was thinking about this, though, like, I mean, I'm obviously not going to get in a car and drive around for 40 minutes every night. And so I'm not really sure how I'm going to vlog for long periods of time, just sitting there in the hotel room unless Alex cares. Or, you know, like, the thing is that it's so windy in Miami sometimes that it's going to be hard to hear on my camera because I don't have a good microphone on it. So we'll just have to see what happens. And I don't know how much you guys really care. Last year, a lot of people complained about the sound, though, in my videos. So, you know, if I vlog a couple days and it's like the sound is really bad, I'll probably just keep it to the hotel room or around the hotel or whatever, you know? So I'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about it, but I'm excited about it. Or maybe just go down to the pool and sit by the pool late at night and just vlog down there. I could do that. That would be fun. I did that when I was in Mexico. Do you guys remember? I went and sat by the pool one day. Or one night. So after I got done with the videos, I was texting Melissa because I wanted the shirt that Melissa had on. Do you guys remember that shirt that says, "Get your fucking dog fixed"? And so it's like a rescue dog shirt, and to like spay and neuter your dog, and like 100% of the proceeds go towards that. So she had gotten me one, and I had to pay her back for it. So I was texting her to see if I could like bring the money by. We live real close. We live like 2 minutes from Melissa and Jason. And I was like, well, what are you doing this weekend? And she's like, well, we're going to this, you know, the pavilion party tomorrow night. She's like, do you guys want to go with us? And I was like, well, I'm not going to. I said, I'm going to do a live stream. And so I'm going to do a live stream tonight. If you're watching this, I'm doing a live stream tonight. I said, I'm going to do a live stream, and then I'm going to go pick up Tanya. Alex will probably do something for St. Patrick's Day, maybe. I don't know. Like, some years he cares, and some years he doesn't. I think I talked about that on here. He used to go to the St. Patrick's Day big tent party every year, and he just hasn't done it the last couple of years. So, I don't know. We'll see what he does. I would love to have some corned beef and cabbage, but I'm a vegetarian. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about the back in the day, St. Patrick's Day. My mom used to always make corned beef and cabbage. I feel like there was some like St. Patrick's Day movie we watched, but I can't remember what. I don't know what it would have been. Was there like a St. Patrick's Day cartoon or something that we would have watched? I don't know what it would have been. But anyway, you have to wear green. I'll have to find something green to wear tomorrow. I mean, you have to, right? So, do you remember back in the day when you'd be in school and then somebody would be like, well, my underwear's green? People were so serious about that stuff back in the day. Like pinching you if you didn't have green on. I always wore green. I always wore red for Valentine's Day and green and all that kind of stuff for St. Patrick's Day. Anyway, so I said, well, what are you guys doing tonight? And she's like, we're going to go to Outback Steakhouse. Do you want to go eat with us? And I don't think I have been to Outback Steakhouse. I put a bunch of pictures up on Instagram of Alex and I there. It was so funny. And somebody they put one guest, Outback Steakhouse. And all you can see is that we're in the booth. I was like, how do they know where we're at? So anyway, I think the last time I was at Outback Steakhouse was probably like 15 or more years ago. And then when we were there, I was like, I don't know that I've ever been here before. I know that I've always wanted that bloomin' onion, and we got it tonight. I was so excited about it. Steak places are just hard for me to eat because there's just not a lot of options. I got a baked potato, and I got macaroni and cheese, and it just was so starchy that I was so full afterwards. And it just was like no kind of eating to be doing before I was leaving for vacation. I got the most hateful comment on my vlog the other night. It was either on my vlog or it was on my Peterisms channel. I'm not really sure what it was. I very rarely, I know people think I delete comments. I do not delete comments. I have a lot of words that are blocked on my channel, so you can't say them. So if you say them in a comment, your comment is immediately blocked. And that's why it doesn't show up. But this person, I don't know who they were, and I don't know why they think it's okay to talk to anybody the way that they left this comment on my video. But like, I can handle the nasty profanity. I can handle the nasty derogatory words, okay? But this person body shamed me up and down the river, and about my eating habits, and I'm a disgusting pig and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what? Like, okay, first of all, I think I'm pretty honest with myself about my eating habits. It's not like I'm rolling through McDonald's getting a Dr. Pepper and I think that that's healthy, okay? This person let me have it, and I blocked them and hid them from my channel with quickness. I was like, you know what? If you feel this way about me, you're so negative that you cannot like say it to me in any kind of informative way, you don't need to comment on my channel. If you want to say that on my drama channel, have at it all day long. I don't really care what people say over there. But not on a channel where I drive around for an hour every night and I spill my heart out and I tell my, you know, all of my shit on this channel. I mean, I like really expose myself on this channel. For someone to come over here and do that is like really kicking somebody when they're down. You know, I just thought it was really uncalled for. And I will say this because, you know, I almost never do that, you guys. And the thing is this, it's like, you know, we can say things to each other in a way that we do not have to be mean or cruel or shameful to somebody. And if we can't do that on a keyboard anonymously in a comment section of a video, the reality is we probably can't do it in real life either. And, you know, I think it's a good learning experience. Like the next time I think that any of us go to leave a nasty comment or get messy on the Twitter or whatever, really think it through. You know, it's interesting. Back in the day, my friend Randy, he used to live by this rule, and he would say, you know, before you say something, ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, is it kind? Number 2, is it necessary? And number 3, is it true? And if you can answer yes to all 3 of them, then let it slip from your mouth. And if you can't, then you need to really think about whether or not it needs to be said at all, you know? And I know I say some things that are a little bit, on my main channel, I say some things that are a little bit questionable sometimes for the sake of humor. And I know a lot of people don't understand my sense of humor, and I you know, I get that. And a lot of people are offended by it, and they don't get it. It's like, you know, when I did the Nikki tutorial, is Nikki tutorials really Amelia Fart video? Like, a lot of people did not understand that that was a parody. But at the same time, and they were upset. I mean, a lot of people, I got a lot of messages about it. You know, people were like, you should have told us that this was a parody. And then I said something and people were upset about it in the comment sections of the video. And I'm like, well, you don't watch Saturday Night Live and before you watch it, they go, okay, this is a parody. You don't do that, right? Like, that kind of takes away from the humor. And then I think that people's intelligences were so like insulted, which you shouldn't be, because a lot of people didn't even know who Amelia Fart was, you know? So how could they possibly know if it was a joke or not? I mean, the reality is you would have to really know both of those people to understand that it was a joke. So nobody's intelligence should be insulted by that. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry if anybody took it that way. But then, you know, after that, it was like, I mean, I'm not going to come out and say something's a parody. Oh, and then people were like, well, obviously, you know, you're not very good comedian since nobody understood it. I thought I was a fantastic comedian, that I did it with a straight face, and so many people didn't understand that it was a parody. That's absolutely perfection in humor, I think. I think I pulled it off with total grace, and I love that I did it, and I'll do it. I'll continue to do it again. And but I don't want to do it at the expense of people's feelings getting hurt. You know what I mean? So, quite frankly, Amelia Fart loved it, and I'm glad that she did. I thought it was funny, too. But I know a lot of people didn't know who those people were, and they didn't get it, you know? And they were like, is it the same person? Is it not the same person? But they didn't understand it in the context of what it is. But I don't want my videos ever to be a place where anybody's feelings get hurt, you know, mine or otherwise. And, you know what? I know what video it was. It wasn't a vlog that I got the comment on. It was my Peterisms video where I talked about my journey with food, and they were like, it was a really harsh comment, you know? And I was like, okay, damn, you know, like, but I'm not shocked by what people say anymore, you know? Like, I'm really not. If I've learned anything from YouTube, I've learned two things on the polar end of the spectrum. Number one, I've learned that there are really some self-loathing, hateful, cruel people out there. Like, I didn't really experience it on a daily basis. So until I started making videos, I didn't really witness that. You know what I mean? With the comments. Now, here's the really important thing that leads into the second thing I learned. I don't get a lot of those really harsh, mean comments, which is probably why when I do, it hits a little deeper. I go to other people's channels and I just like, you know, even some friends of mine, and just the comments are just so scathing and so hurtful that I'm just like, how does anybody speak to another human being like that? Like, I really don't understand it sometimes, you know? And, I've even on my own channel before, okay, here's a good example. That Nikki Tutorials and Amelia Fart video, a couple people went a little too far in what they said to the people that didn't understand that video, okay? Like, really kind of shamed them for not getting it. And I reached out to those people and I said, hey, I know you're being really protective of me and I appreciate that, and you're protective of my humor, but like, I like my videos to be a safe place. Could you maybe like tone it down a little bit? Like, you know, because they were people that like I see consistently on my videos. And it was 3 people that I reached out to, and every single person was like, I really appreciate the fact that you reached out to me. You know, thank you so much, and absolutely I'll watch it in the future. I wouldn't want anybody's feelings to be hurt in your comment section. And I don't say that, you know, to make it look like, oh, aren't I grand or anything. I want people to know that I do my best to keep it a safe environment on my videos, and I can only control so much of it, you know what I mean? And I got an email the other day from somebody that was saying that like in their live streams, I've never heard of this person before, but in their live streams and in their YouTube channel, their comments are so, like, people fight in the comment sections and they tell each other to, like, kill each other, and it's horrible shit. Horrible stuff that should never be said to another human being. And they were asking my advice on, like, what to do with it. And I honestly, like, this is so bad that I said this, but I said I would, because you guys know I don't buy into this. But I said, you know, you can disable your comments or you can contact YouTube. But, like, I wouldn't feel right if that was the comment section of my YouTube channel. I just wouldn't feel okay that it wasn't a safe place for people. You know what I mean? And so that going into the second thing that I learned, so let's remember, the first thing that I learned being on YouTube was, and not really through my channel, but through other people's channels, that there are some really, I mean, I'm not stupid. I didn't wake up yesterday. I know there's a lot of hateful, cruel people out there in the world, but I just hadn't experienced it or witnessed it on a daily basis or a regular basis, you know? And the way that some people experience it like that, with, like, just really nastiness. I mean, I've gone through periods on YouTube where I've gotten a lot of it, but it usually happens around an event, if that makes sense. I think you all know what I'm talking about, right? So, the second thing that I've learned, and more powerful probably than the first, is that people's capacity for goodness and kindness is overwhelming. And what I have experienced on YouTube, and through the medium of YouTube, with people reaching out to me and making friends and all this kind of stuff, you know, like, the messages I get, you guys, from people saying things to me like, I'm gonna get teary-eyed talking about this. I've never really said this before on here, but, you know, when my mom was sick, she was sick for 3 months in the ICU. If you've ever been to ICU, my mother was in the ICU, intensive care unit, for 3 months, okay? Unconscious. I would sit there for hours every night, just sit there. And, people weren't calling, people weren't checking in, you know, it was my aunt and my mom and I and, like, 2 of my mom's friends, and, I mean, she would have people from her 12-step program in her church that would stop by during the day, but at night, no, it was just me by myself, you know? And it was lonely, and it sucked, and the best thing was walking down the hallway to this, Coke machine and getting a Dr. Pepper, or this coffee that they made that was really good, and they had this little coffee area where you could get all kinds of creamer and stuff, which I don't usually drink creamer, but I did at that time. And I would sit there, you know, and just play out all these scenarios in my head, because I had just left my career of 13 years, and my ex and I had broken up, and he had literally moved out and taken pictures off the wall where you could see the pictures were off the wall. And my apartment was sparse. And so I would go to the hospital immediately, you know, after work, and sit there and then play through all these scenarios in my head of how lonely my life was going to be, and that I was never going to meet anybody again, and that the one person in the whole world that got me on a soul level was about to leave this earth, because I never kidded myself for 1 second, you know? To go home to this aggressive dog that didn't love me, that just wanted to be fed and left alone, to a shitty apartment, and it was just a really dark period of my life. When I get messages from people that say, I was was at the hospital with my mom, or I was at the hospital with my kid, or I was going through chemo today. I get so many of the chemo messages. And about people watching my videos while they're going through chemo, or sitting in the hospital, or sitting at doctor's appointments. And while I have never lived that myself, and that has never been my story, I have clocked in many hours in a hospital. And it's a lonely, often scary place. Even for those of us that have worked in hospitals and tried to make them not that for other people, they are still lonely and scary places at times. And it means the world to me that anybody finds any peace, serenity, grace, or enjoyment, laughter, anything out of any bit of any video that I make on a daily basis that eases their pain just a little bit, makes me feel like I'm doing something important in the world. And it's not just some stupid drama video where I'm flipping a fan and talking about shit that nobody really cares about. And when people say to me, like, the wonderful messages that you guys send me and say, you know, you got my mind away from this, or thank you, or my ex broke up with me and I'm just really going through a really hard time, and, you know, my girlfriend broke up with me and we used to watch. I get boyfriend messages, you guys, from boyfriends that say, my girlfriend and I used to watch you together. She found you, she fell in love with you, and every night we would watch you before we went to bed, and we broke up, or she cheated on me, and now I still watch you because you remind me of she and I watching your videos together. The capacity for love, kindness, and compassion that you guys have shown me through YouTube is phenomenal. I sometimes think I kind of feel like I'm living this dream. Like, it's just surreal to me, you know, especially when I look back at 10 years ago where I was right now. You know, 10 years ago right now, honestly, at, 2:30 in the morning on a Friday night, I was probably sitting in my apartment, inside my apartment, smoking one cigarette after another, wondering if I was going to get a call that was my mother's, that was her last night, she had passed away. That was every night of my life for 3 months. Exactly 10 years ago, right now, you know? I wasn't excited about going to Ultra. I wasn't, passionate about a boyfriend or husband. I hated my work at the time, I wasn't writing a book. I wasn't making videos. I wasn't creative about anything. I was depressed, and I was lonely, and I was sad, and most of all, I was scared. And I didn't have really anybody except for Tanya to talk about it. And one of the things that has been so important for me to get very involved in a 12-step program and get a sponsor that I'm really active with is that sometimes it's too much for one friend. It's too much to put all of that on one friend. And I have at times put a lot on Tanya, and that was a lonely time because I felt like I was leaning on her for everything. So thank you guys so much for the messages and the comments and just noticing the silly small things, like the crooked picture in the kitchen. I love that you guys notice that. I love that you guys notice that, that you care enough to even comment on that. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but if you were living on this end of the camera, you would get it. It's like, I cannot say enough in enough videos how privileged I feel to be able to do this on a daily basis and that anybody wants to watch my videos. But I'm not going to say it anymore because tonight at least, I'm beating a dead horse. But it does, and those are the two things that I've learned from making videos on YouTube. And you're either a really kind person or you're a really cruel person. And where do you choose to lay in that, Where do you choose your comments to go and your observations about the world? It's up to each of us. My camera's about to stop because it's at 30 minutes, so I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm back. That first half hour went quick. So I wanted to talk about something completely different and kind of funny. So you guys know that I'm obsessed with this show on Netflix called Girls Incarcerated, right? And so many of you have messaged me and told me that, like, you fell in love with it too, and you're crying about the girls and when the counselor left and all this kind of stuff. So I was talking to a family friend of ours today, and she's like 25 or no, she's 26, and she goes, have you, we went and got coffee, and she was like, have you watched Girls Incarcerated? And I said, oh my God, I was going to tell you about it, because she and I always talk about, like, different Netflix shows, and we always watch the exact same shows. So she was like, I love it so much, and I was like, I love it too, and so anyway, I just want to say this because a lot of people they know, before we get into this, they know, I'm like, do I want to say this? Do I not want to say this? But every time I ask her, do you care if I share your story? She's like, I don't care. A lot of people know Teresa that took me to Bob Evans, and she was on my vlog, and she was a patient of mine back in the day. It was funny because I was out to dinner, when we were out to dinner with Jason and Melissa tonight. It was so weird how this happens. I was talking to them about Girls Incarcerated, and I was telling them this story today about, because they're friends with this girl too. So anyway, and right when I was talking about it, I got a text from Teresa, and she said, I should read it because it was so nice. If I wasn't like in the middle of a country road, I would read it to you. But she said she was watching Girls Incarcerated. So, hey, Teresa, I know she watches my vlog every day. She's watched every vlog of mine from the very beginning. So, hey, Teresa, thank your husband for allowing him to let you watch this every day, this nonsense. But she said something to the effect of that she's watching it. And had she been sent to a place like that, like she had an issue with the people that worked there. And she said, had I been sent to a place like that, I think I would have continued to go down a bad road. And she was like, but because I had you, like, I turned out okay, or good, or I can't remember what she said. And I just sat there for a minute, and it's like, it was just such a powerful moment for me. So Teresa, thank you so much. Like, you know, I look at what I used to do this way. I had lots of seed planters when I was growing up, you know, like counselors and teachers and parents and friends of my parents and, you know, all this kind of stuff. A lot of them meant something to me, and a lot of them didn't mean anything to me. And when I became a counselor working in treatment, I decided I wanted to be the kind of counselor that got on their level, and if I didn't understand something, then I would ask, and if I was wrong, I would admit that I was wrong, and I would be as direct as I needed to be, because I cared enough to tell somebody when they were bullshitting. And one of the things that I was popular for saying back in the day is that everything after, like, when kids would say something and they'd say, yes, but, and I would say, everything after but. You ready, Teresa? What is it? It's bullshit. Everything after but is bullshit. And anything leading up to that is what you really mean. After that, it doesn't mean anything. And, you know, like, I was real direct with kids back in the day. You know, I was hard. I was tough love. I just was, and it was because I cared so much. And, you know, I think back on, like, my counselor, Anna, that I had, and my first sponsor that I had, well, really my second, Steve, he passed away. My second sponsor that I worked steps with the first time, he died of a heroin overdose. But Steve and Anna, you know, and friends of mine in early sobriety, they all planted a seed, you know what I mean? Like, and then the seed grew, not necessarily right that moment, but like over time, I grew up, you know, into something else, a more self-actualized, beautiful version of myself, I like to think. And then I just tried to pass that on to others, you know, and do the same thing that had been done to me. It wasn't like some genius kind of thing. And I think if all of us were a little bit more conscious of that, of the people in our lives, it's not an age thing. They don't have to be, you know, 15, 16, 17. You know, it can be anybody. It can be the grumpy neighbor across the street, or, you know, the woman that's overworked at the grocery store, help her out a little bit, or, you know, somebody that is just having a bad day, you know, buy them a cup of coffee or something, you know, or compliment them on their sweater at work. It's like, it takes so very little of us to be kind to somebody and to teach them the ways of kindness and the ways of self-improvement and the way and to say to somebody, I love you enough to tell you the truth, and the truth is you're fucking up your life. And I learned that lesson, that specific lesson I learned, because people wonder all the time where I got my kind of Dr. Phil mentality. I got it from my dad when he looked at me when I was in treatment, and he stood up in that family session and he said, you're pissing your life away and you don't even realize it. And he walked out, and he said, you know, there's your family session, now you can get out of treatment. And he walked out, and I'll never forget that. I've told that story hundreds of times in my life. You know, he cared enough to tell me the truth and not sugarcoat it. He wasn't mean about it. He wasn't cruel about it. He just said it as it was, you know? And he said it because he cared, and I knew that he cared, and I knew that he loved me. So when he said it to me, you know, it resonated with me, and I don't know, I was thinking about this tonight, because there's actually, I mean, she's not the only one. Why are they salting the roads? Is it supposed to snow? Are you kidding me? Please tell me it's not supposed to snow. It's like not even that cold outside right now. She's not the only successful one that I've had. I've had lots of successful patients, because when I worked in treatment, that actually, I mean, got sober, worked 12-step programs to this day, and are sponsoring people and been sober 15 plus years, you know? And then I have other, you know, patients that are successful today, and they drink or smoke weed every once in a while, and, you know, but they're successful and they have real jobs and, you know, families and kids and husbands and wives, but I still consider that successful. They've got degrees and education and high school degrees, and they're good relationships with their families. And, you know, it's all in how you define success. And they are salting the roads. What is going on? Why are they doing that? Is it supposed to, like, ice outside or something? So anyway, I don't know, but, like, this is gonna sound so strange, especially because I know that Teresa watches these vlogs. But I had this moment at dinner tonight when I was like, if 13 years of working in one facility was all just so that Teresa could have a great life, if it all was just built up for that one moment that she happened to end up in my care, that's enough. That's enough for me. You know? That one person, because she has a good life. I know she does, because we've talked about it. She reads a lot. She has fun. You know, she and her husband have such like interests. She's a good life, you know? And if all of that, we talked on the phone not too long ago, because a fellow patient that she went to school with passed away. I talked about that on here, and so we were like talking about what had happened to all these people and stuff, you know, and I don't know, I just had this feeling tonight. I was like, you know what, I don't need to know anything past her to know that it was worth it. It was all of it really worth it to me, you know? Like every bit of it. I mean, I would love to think that hundreds and hundreds of kids are still making great choices today, but that's not the reality. You know, it just isn't. And what's really sad is, okay, so this is, so thank you, Teresa, because that just really was like this profound moment for me that, like, I don't know, it just was really, it was a powerful moment for me. And looking back on my life and, you know, being a part of somebody's journey is just really the biggest honor ever, don't you think? That, like, somebody allows you to be part of their journey of their life. Like, that's a pretty cool thing. So anyway, is it like freezing? I can't tell. It's like the road is like wet, but it doesn't look like it's freezing. I wonder why they're icing it. Anyway, so I was talking to this family friend today when we got coffee, and she was like, oh yeah, I've looked them all up on Facebook. And I go, because we were like, oh, they're all from Indiana. I said, you looked them all up on Facebook? She's like, yeah. And I said, you were stalking them on Facebook? She's like, well, I wasn't stalking them. I was like, you looked them all up on Facebook? She's like, yeah. I said, okay. I said, I want to know where they're at on Facebook. So anyway, I said, well, my God, aren't they all still in there? Because I'm such an idiot, right? Because I think they filmed it a year ago or longer. She goes, because most of them are all out. And she goes, it looks like most of them are back up to what they were doing before. I said, oh, don't tell me that. That makes me sad. Which is kind of what was making me think about all this tonight. But, so one of the girls that's 18 or 19 lives in Indianapolis, and I sent her a message and I asked her, I explained who I was a YouTuber, and I asked her if she wanted to do a collab with me on my channel. I haven't heard back from her, but I thought that would be really interesting since, you know, I've done all these videos about like Tana Mojo and all this kind of stuff, to have a girl on there that's like made some poor choices and just, you know, and she's also in this TV show, which I think people would find interesting, and just have like a sit-down conversation with her about like what she wants out of her life and how can she achieve that, and like really tell her like what's worked for me in my life, you know, and just, I think that would be kind of a fun, cool video. Not a fun video, but it would be like, what do you guys think? Would you like that video? We'll see if she messages me back. But anyway. One of her like social media said something like the queen of the Netflix show Girls Incarcerated or something, because I was like, oh yeah, it's her, because she doesn't even look like herself anymore on the show. But anyway, so I was like, well, that's kind of cool, you know, like that would be something different to do. I'm so moved by that show. And the counselor has a Twitter account, and she is like posting all kinds of stuff about like where you can contact to like volunteer time and do work and stuff, which I think is so phenomenal that this young counselor, y'all know the young counselor that was bawling my eyes out. Now you've watched the show, now you know why I was bawling my eyes out, don't you? You were bawling your eyes out too, weren't you? So anyway, I think it's phenomenal that she's like, you know, sharing with people like how they can do some similar work and help people as well, you know, to give back to the world and to the community. I think that's so cool. So anyway, but I love that show. I'm almost done with it. I think I have like 2 more episodes left. It's so interesting to me too, like, because, you know, they show, like, they talk about where the girls are at, like, 3 months down the road. And, like, some of them are real successful and some of them aren't. And what's interesting to me is that the ones when you're watching the show that are successful are not the ones that you think it would be, and vice versa. And that's so true of when I worked in treatment. Like, the ones that the kids that I thought would be successful back in the day were never the ones that ended up being successful. It was always, like, the ones that you would never guess would be successful are the ones that ended up successful. Isn't that crazy? You know, and I hate to say this because this is like, don't want like family members and parents to go, well, I don't really have anything to do with it anyway. But I don't know that I think a whole lot of it has to do with like family support and family, you know, if people have like the support they deserve from their families or all that kind of stuff. I really think it has a lot to do with just personal drive. Not necessarily willpower, because I think when it comes to substance abuse, I mean, you don't have a really, I'm a believer that you have a lot of willpower until you pick up that first drink or that first drug. I believe you have a lot of willpower. But I think, you know, like, I don't know. I've seen kids that have had the most amazing family support in the entire world, and they just can't keep it together. And I've seen other kids that had the shittiest families in the entire world, or no families. I worked with a lot of kids that had no, I'll never forget this one kid that I worked with. His mom came for family group after him being there for 6 months. She was a mess. I felt so bad for this woman. I mean, I felt, you know, I have real compassion in my heart for somebody that is living in their sickness of addiction. And because when you are in the middle of it, you cannot see out of it. When you are in the grips of addiction, you cannot see outside of it. And she couldn't, like, she really couldn't until she got there and saw her kid and how well he was doing. And we were in the middle of group, and she, like, could not stop looking at me. And I was kind of trying, I didn't really know why she was, like, staring a hole through me. And so I kind of, like, just, like, looked at her a second, like, did you need something? And she goes, like, she pointed to the door, and, I said, yeah, what is it? And so she goes, can I talk to you in the hallway for a second? And I said, yeah. She's just bawling her eyes out. And I said, yeah. And so we went out in the hallway, and she just lost her shit. She's like, I can't do this. And I said, what do you mean? And this is like one of the biggest moments I ever had working in treatment. She goes, I can't do this. And I said, what do you mean you can't do this? And she goes, I can't be here. I can't be his mom. She goes, I can't take, she goes, he's got an older brother. His older brother will make sure he's okay. She's like, I can't. I said, no. I said, no, don't you dare do this. I said, 6 months he has waited here. I was like, not happy. I said, 6 months he has waited here for you to show up. You're not walking out that door. And she's like bawling her eyes out. She's like, I can't do this. She's like, I'm not what he needs. I'm not what he needs. She's like, he doesn't need me. And she like went through the double doors and was gone. Never came back. And he ended up like being released and going into like an independent living environment. He's another one that's real successful today. Like he's on Facebook and he messages me and stuff, and he's like, hey, just want to let you know I'm doing well. Like, well, he did like a year ago. I haven't heard from him since, but you know, you never know who's gonna make it. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the secret to success is. I just really don't. I know for me, the secret to my success was I had had enough. I was tired. It was just tiring, you know? It was more effort to use and get high anymore and get in trouble than it was to not. Like, it was tiring. I was so tired all the time, you know? And like, not in a tired, like, want to go to sleep tired, want to like, that kind of tired. I was like tired, like, physically and mentally, emotionally, and spiritually exhausted. Well, spiritually, I had no spirituality. I had no spiritual condition whatsoever. I was emotionally exhausted. I can't tell if this road is wet or it's just wet. I mean, is the road wet or is it icy? But I was like emotionally exhausted. I'm gonna pull in here to this gas station and I'm gonna see. I'm gonna look at the Weather Channel and see what it says. Oh, that's nice. There's a police officer down there. Here I am in this just like dinky ass little neighborhood. Weather Channel. Winter weather advisory from Saturday 2 a.m. until Saturday at 10 a.m. The main threat will be freezing rain. However, this may begin as a mixture of wet snow and freezing rain in some areas. Total wet snow accumulations of up to 1/2 inch and ice accumulations of 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch are expected. Along and north of Lafayette. What? Great. Oh well. I'll just listen to my audiobook and drive home safely. I'll take country roads home. I don't mind. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. I think if I sing more than that, it won't monetize my video. I'm bankrolling off these videos on my vlog, you know? Like a year ago, last November, I got stuck on the interstate in an ice storm. Does anybody remember that? It was horrible, you guys. And literally just stopped on the interstate. Like I could not move. And I was so terrified to go like nobody could move. Like the whole interstate, I was stuck for like 4 hours. Do you guys remember that? It was so horrible. And so anytime ice comes up now, I'm like scared to death that like I'm gonna get stuck on the interstate again. So I just don't screw with it. I'm like, okay, well I'll take country roads home. I think it takes me like an hour to get from here to the home, like via country road. So we're not even country roads, we're just like side roads. Weather's deceiving sometimes, isn't it? Like you can't really tell, like how icy it really is. Can you believe it's like the middle of March and we're still having ice and snow? That is so crazy to me. When I get up here back to the city part, I'm like in Anderson, which is like by where the casino is. Hell, I could just go to the casino for a little while until the weather lightens up at 10 a.m. Alex would be like, where are you? I'm at the casino, don't worry about it. I sometimes drive here because it's like a straight shoot and then I can just like turn around when I'm done. They've salted the hell out of this road. But anyway, it's like 30 minutes from door to door. So I wonder what it's going to be. I'm going to have to get on my GPS when I get up here and I can pull over. I wonder what it'll be if I don't take the interstate, because I'm not taking the interstate and getting stuck on it. I know that's stupid, but I'm just not going to do it. Well, maybe I'll be able to finish my audiobook that way. This Artemis that I'm listening to by Andy Weir. It's really good, actually, but I'm like ready for it to be over. It would make a better movie. It's interesting when you read like some books that like sometimes they would make better movies, you know? Like I think if I had seen it as a movie, I would have enjoyed it more than reading it, if that makes sense. I mean, it's good, but it's just like, I don't know. This is not coming down as ice. This is coming down as rain, I think. There's like this truck like barreling behind me. Can you guys see that? I'm like, I'm not going any faster than I am, so you can just like cool your heels. I'm pulling over so they can go around me. I'm not like getting into an accident because these people are idiots. I read my weather report. Anyway,